I'd like to call the Monday, October 24th meeting of the Blue Springs Planning Commission to order. If I could ask everyone to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and welcome to everyone this evening, as well as those watching us from home. Tonight's agenda consists of a preliminary plat, a final plat, other business, and adjourn. So we have no public hearings this evening for the first time in a long time. So with that, our first item on the agenda is the consent agenda, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
I motion for approval.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So our first item on the agenda is a preliminary plat for the Woodlands at Chapman Farms, and Mr. Jury is going to present that to us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner and Planning Commission. Before you, you have the preliminary plat for the Woodlands at Chapman Farms. Robert Frost and Mary Frost, the applicant, or property owners, are asking for this preliminary plat to be approved. And I'll scroll down to the site. As you can see, it was rezoned recently, actually just last Monday by the City Council. They approved that. And they rezoned it to general business at the northwest and southwest corners of the site, multifamily along 7 Highway, and the rest of the site, 124 acres of the 151, is single family. This is generally located on the east side of 7 Highway, in between Wyatt Road to the north and Lakeside subdivision to the south. And currently it is undeveloped, mainly used for agricultural uses. So the preliminary plat before you has 332 single-family lots and 2 multifamily tracts and 2 commercial tracts. There's also numerous tracts that are held in open space that will be held by the Homeowners Association once that's formed and developed. The main one being Tract E, which is located in the southeast corner of the site. Right up down here, and that houses a proposed trail as well as the majority of the stormwater drainage. That is approximately 12.9 acres, which actually meets the open space requirement of the site for the single family only. The single family is approximately 124 acres, and this is a little over 10% of that. So that does meet the requirements for open space, but as I was saying, tracks A through D for the multifamily and the general business areas, as those develop, new plans will be required, and open space requirements must be met at that time. As of now, we don't know exactly what's going, or the actual layout of those lots yet, so that's why we're holding off on that as of now. As for phasing of the site, the applicant has proposed 10 phases, and for the single family area. From the very beginning, the majority or half of Wyatt Road must be constructed as required by Public Works, and the second half of Wyatt Road must be constructed during the 8th phase. So approximately half of, from where Timothy Lutheran finished their work to the eastern edge of Lot 13, they must install that up front. The remainder of the improvements along Wyatt Road must be installed with Phase 8, but there is a requirement that halfway through the phases, so 6 and 7, after 1 through 5, 6 and 7, they must start escrowing for the portion of the lots that those phases include of the total development. That way, if anything does happen, the city doesn't have nothing going towards the improvements along Wyatt Road. That way we have a safeguard just in case any housing turn does happen again, as it did in 2007. So that's the majority of the phasing. I'll go on towards the, let's see, the housing proposed by the applicant. And these are just concepts, examples. The Homeowners Association documents will include more information during the final plat process as of minimum lot sizes and actual architectural details and requirements for the housing. But I'll scroll through some of these. Beyond that, I'll go through some of the conditions. A couple things. We did not receive a traffic study or a stormwater study beyond just the preliminary outlines of what they have. So we will require, prior to the final plat, a traffic study and a stormwater study to be provided and make sure that everything meets public works standards. Otherwise, if there are any changes, they will have to go through the preliminary plat to amend the lots as needed. Similarly, for the stream buffer, they will, there are 2 streams that are existing along, or 2 legs of a stream that are existing that sort of cut off from tract E up north and then also to the west. Stream buffers may be required by the Army Corps of Engineers. The applicant has told me that they may be able to buy out of that stream buffer, and that's his intention to do so. But if they cannot, and thus requiring a stream buffer, which may change the lot layouts, making some lots possibly unbuildable, and we might need to rearrange some lots, then they will also have to go through the preliminary plat, amend the preliminary plat again. Beyond that, a couple other conditions. I went over the phasing, so I won't go over that again. Tracks A through D, the commercial and multifamily tracks cannot be developed until until they go through the required plans, through the planning applications that may be needed in order to get those tracks to actually meet our UDC requirements. Open space plan will be required, which includes the tree preservation plan. There are some minor utility easement and water easement details that need to be cleaned up. Beyond that, the normal public improvements must be installed or financially guaranteed if allowed by Public Works. Sidewalks, declaration of restrictions for the HOA, and the stormwater issues with your normal Missouri Department of Natural Resources. So with that, staff does recommend to Planning Commission the approval of this preliminary plat with 13 conditions. So if there are any questions.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Jury? Commissioner Billups?
Are there future plans on the books anywhere for a street on the south side of this development?
I'll let Public Works discuss that one.
No, when they developed onto the south side there, they didn't allow for the right-of-way for Cowherd Road to extend onto the east, because there's a utility corridor down through there. Water District 13 has water transmission main. I think there's some overhead power lines and things at that time, so it was kind of decided back then that, and plus if it continued on to the east, about the only road it would tie into would be Shroud Road and stuff like that. So it really wouldn't function much as a collector. I don't know if it could go through because of the existing homes along Shroud Road.
I was just curious, because it seems like, every other subdivision, we've got collector streets north and south of it. And then there's no connectivity also to, I believe is it Lakeside to the south as well?
No, they do not have any.
Was there any discussion about having some connection there, or was it just seems like we're really isolating that a little bit that we don't normally try to do?
Yeah. There was not discussion about that, but internally staff would rather see, I guess, some trails or something, but trails are not required by this because under the current UDC, the open space requirements, the 12.9 acre tract E is classified as a preserve, which a preserve is just a natural preserve and does not need to have active open space within it. We didn't have I guess we can't technically require a trail if they do meet the tenets or the requirements of a preserve.
So we're satisfied that between Wyatt and 7, we'll have enough ingress and egress into these 300 homes that we won't have a problem? We won't need the connectivity to the south or the east?
I'll let Public Works discuss that. We didn't receive a traffic study, but I'll let Jeff take care of that.
Yeah, I mean, our preliminary analysis of it is we feel it'll function and work, and they do have a connection point there. Cowherd, they just swing it up to the north and it'll go tie into Wyatt. I think, and they have the main entrance. It's protected. You can't turn left out the main entrance out there because MoDOT already put in a lot of those improvements when we made those to 7 Highway. And then they have a couple access points to Wyatt Road so they can go 7 Highway or Adams Dairy Parkway. Because that's kind of it too. That's all the land that could get to it. Because all the rest of it's pretty much undeveloped or small tracts or existing homes.
I just know we've laid out some future roads in the past, even though there wasn't necessarily a connection there at the present time, so that they would be in the plans, but that's fine. Thank you.
Mr. Green? Sorry, Mr. Allen.
Yes,
Some different name on my mind.
That's all right. Thank you, Chairman Graham and Commissioner Billups. We see this image here, kind of rewinding back about 12, 15 years ago now. You can see Lakeside on the south was under consideration, under development before Mr. and Mrs. Frost came forward with their proposal, their previous proposal even at the time. So they're kind of two separate projects at that time. And as Mr. Sell mentioned, again, there's a lack of future potential connectivity to the east for Cowherd Road. And you can also see, Jeff, is that sewer kind of lift station, or what is that at the northeast corner of the lake there?
Yeah, that's a very low area, and that's where the sewer lift station is. That's the biggest pumps and the storage tanks.
So the lake, that sewage lift station and such were really kind of built-in
Right.
obstacles for any kind of connectivity with Cowherd, or also down to Lakeside. And then also we were contending with everything on the west side, you can see, is existing development in unincorporated Jackson County. So it's a little bit unique layout and location for this property that kind of created a kind of its own development, I guess, orientation, for lack of a better word.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right. Mr. Frost, do you have any comments, questions that you'd like to answer?
No, I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can.
You just state your name and address for us, though, please.
Robert Frost, 8619 South 7 Highway.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Frost? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would entertain a motion.
Go for it.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for approval. Build a preliminary plot PP 09-16-54.
Can you back up and turn your mic on so we can get it on the record, though, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Now if I can find my page again. I'd like to make a motion for approval for a preliminary plot PP-09-16-5467 for the Woodlands at Chapman Farms with the 13 conditions.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Peel. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the final plat for Indigo Hills PUD, and Mr. Wright is up and ready to present that.
Yep, thank you, Chairman Graham and Commissioners. Before you this evening is a request for a final plat for Indigo Hills PUD 4th plat, which is located at the northwest corner of Southwest Marguerite and Southwest Elizabeth Street, and southwest of Southwest 40 Highway. This is for a one-tract, 2.77 acres with 10 villa units. This is the 4th and final plat for Indigo Hills and is in compliance with the previously approved preliminary plat and PUD final plan. And the applicant is currently working on completing the remaining public infrastructure, including a water main and street improvements for the remainder of Southwest Marguerite Street, which is the cul-de-sac. And the applicant estimates that these will be completed within the next 2 weeks prior to the November 7th City Council. The 10 single-family villa units will be added to the existing conditions, covenants, and restrictions that apply to the 18 villa units that have already been platted with the first plat. Landscape buffer, 25-foot landscape buffer is required along Southwest 40 Highway. And any required landscaping for that buffer, as well as common open space landscaping for the tract, must be installed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the first villa unit. Individual landscaping for each unit, as well as the required sidewalk sections along Southwest Marguerite Street, will be installed with each unit at the time prior to an issuance of a certificate of occupancy for each unit that is associated with that. And then all units are required to have a minimum livable floor area of 1,250 square feet, which is consistent with the existing villas in Indigo Hills. And staff does recommend approval of the final plat, subject to 5 conditions in the staff report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Wright? All right, doesn't look like there is.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Woods, do you have anything to add? No. Any questions for Mr. Woods? All right. I would entertain a motion. Commissioner Banks.
I'd like to make a motion to approve PF-10-16-5520, the final plat for Indigo Hills, PUD, 4th plat, track E, with the 5 staff conditions.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Haney. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and that recommendation will be sent to the next city council meeting. Brings us to other business. Mr. Allen, do you have anything for us?
Sure, thank you, Chairman Graham. Just heads up for the next meeting, which is in 3 weeks, because there's a fifth Monday next week. Monday, November 14th will be the next Planning Commission meeting. There are a number of applications, a couple of public hearings, so a little bit more standard size of agenda and meeting. We'll have Colonial Gardens. If you recall, the old Colonial Nursery will have a few applications. We have UDC text amendments, some cleanup revisions that have already gone through the Development Advisory Commission, DAC, so those will be coming before you, as well as a single lot subdivision for residential with relation to the septic ordinance or septic system ordinance provision on Pink Hill Road. So those are, I believe, all those as I'm looking to Ms. Fedora. So yes, those are the a number of applications for each of those, but those are the three main projects.
Okay, great, thank you. Anybody else have any business? Commissioner Billups?
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring in a downtown announcement every time I'm right.
Sure.
I want to remind everyone to bring the kids downtown Saturday morning for trick-or-treating between 10 and noon.
All right. Free to attend, I assume?
Free to attend.
Perfect. Any other business?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Peel?
Commissioner Duhon and I are going to attend a workshop for Complete Streets on Wednesday of this week from 6 to 8 or 8:30, I believe. So we'll probably come back with a minor report of what occurred at the workshop.
Okay, look forward to that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other business? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So I have a motion, how about a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.